So we are back with another episode for you guys. As you can see, back in the car again, doing the dreaded 6-hour journey back.
Oh my God!
So I have a lot of time to kill. This episode, I'm not going to be talking about the gym. Not going to be talking about what you can do to help you with this and that. This is purely going to be a story time and entertainment video purposes. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below, the bell button, all the rest of it. So, yeah, the title of the story, stealing a vehicle. So most people are probably sitting there thinking, yeah, it's going to end up he got mixed up, he didn't, steal the bag in, otherwise be prosecuted and all the rest of it.
No fuck you lying.
I just want to tell you now, I did steal the vehicle.
You didn't have to cut me off.
Okay, I'll explain exactly why and how and everything, how I got into it. So before I want to start this story, obviously there's a lot of stuff within my work that I can't talk about, but with this, I believe that all of it I can actually speak about. So yeah, what actually happened? How did I get round to stealing a American vehicle? So I was based away on a tiny little island called Diego Garcia. Now most of you won't have heard or know much about Diego Garcia at all. Diego Garcia, just for a tiny backstory, is in the middle of the Indian Ocean, hundreds of miles away from any other landmass. So from either direction, it's hundreds of miles away. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's no phone signal out there. Tiny island. I was based there for nearly best part of a couple of years. Now, that's where the story is. As you can see, the island itself isn't like a round circular island that you'd see in a story, in a book. It had all the palm trees, as you could imagine. It's almost like a horseshoe shape. You could probably walk from width to width, so water to water, in maybe like 10 minutes or something. However, to get from tip to tip, it's a different story. It would take absolutely hours. At the top right of the island is the living quarters, so that would be where your grot is, where your room is and whatnot, a shop, hairdressers, and just basically the whole living area. And then at the very other end, at the very end of that tip, is a jungle. It's basically just jungle for, I don't know, a few miles of jungle, where there's no buildings and it's just locked off by a gate. Okay. Now, on the island, one of my duties is I was a customs and immigration officer.
Yeah, boy.
And one of the things I had to do was ensure that there was no illegal fishing going on by the people that lived on the island, be it some of the workers maybe, or the military personnel. So at night time, I would have to go down, I would take a vehicle, a 4x4 on this instance. I took a 4x4 by myself, took a radio, as you have to do. It was super relaxed, so I was just wearing civilian attire. Not the best footwear, I'll be honest, without incriminating myself. And drove all the way up to the other end, all good. Now the wagon that I was in, because it's such a remote island, they struggle to have perfectly working wagons all the time. So the wagon that I was in, which was our dedicated wagon, you had to bump start it to get it started. I know it sounds sketchy already. Basically just don't switch it off because you need to bump start it. So I had no problem doing that by myself. I was just basically pushing it by myself and then jumping in and bump starting it. Absolutely no dramas. But as I went down to the other end of the island, went into the jungle part. So the gate is at the start of the jungle, and I have to basically go as far as I can through the little jungle trail on the track, to make sure that no other wagons are in there, that I don't see anybody fishing, etc. So I'm not locking anybody in. Got all the way down to the end, and at the end there's like a little beach opening. It opens out to the thing. As far as I can go on the track, it opens into like a little beach opening, and I have to get out of the wagon, basically walk the rest, a little piece, just to make sure, because there's another, I don't know, maybe like half a mile or something, or maybe not even that far, of area where I can't physically bring the wagon because it's just so dense. Got out, had a little check around, nobody's there, got back in the wagon, and that area there is sand, and there's about from where the wagon is to where the water is, it's probably about 30 meters or something. It's really close. So there's a little fucking area there of sand. Obviously it slopes down towards the water, as you would see at any classic sort of beach a little bit. I'm just trying to paint the picture for what's going to come here. So
Okay.
yeah, obviously, without incriminating myself too much, there was definitely 0 donuts being conducted that day. 0 donuts on that sandbank there. To which, and then got out and went and done the health check or whatever. The vehicle has turned off, be it the stall or however you want to say it. As I've tried to move forwards out of this fucking sand, it's stalled, therefore needing a bump start. Now, I am at the furthest point away from any of the civilization.
Living life on the edge, goddammit.
So what do? So straight away, I'm thinking, right, I'll try and bump start it first, because I've been bump starting it by myself for weeks now. It literally has no dramas, but I'm on sand and I have very small runoff to be able to do this. So to start with, I was trying to get it to the top of this little sandbank, go heading towards the water, and I thought, I'll be able to bump start it before it gets to the water, hoping that I'd be able to bump start before it gets to the water. Now looking back, it's a pretty crazy idea. So I was outside of the wagon and I was trying to get it up, because it was a slight incline on this sand, to get it up to the top of this ridge to then go down to this 30 meters down to the water, where the water was just coming in on this nice little beach. It looked amazing. So I was out there trying to push the wagon. I couldn't do it because of the sand. It was so hard. So I was getting my shoulder on the back of the wagon. I was pushing it and I was getting handfuls of sand, and I was lobbing it under the wheels. I was trying to find sticks, shove it under the wheel, push it a little bit more, shove it under the wheel. Bearing in mind, it's a 4x4 wagon, so it was taking it out of me. I must have been doing this because I thought that I was making progress. I must have been doing this for, I would say, like 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
Bruh.
Really, honestly, I was doing that for ages, and it got to the point where I was like, yeah, even if I get to the top here now, knowing how bad and how lucid this sand is on the wagon for me trying to push it up, I just wouldn't have been able to. I don't know. I was just absolutely gassed at this point. On my half, I kind of failed because I didn't have any water with me. Now, normally, if all goes to plan, this job should take no more than an hour. Yeah, it should take no more than an hour. Like, an hour would be a long time for it to take. If I soon whip up to the other side of the island, whip all the way through, get out, do my checks, come back, lock the thing, go back, it's all squared. But obviously, yeah, it was taking more than an hour. So I was doing that for 40 minutes and I had no water with me. And bearing in mind, this island is in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So how hot is it going to be? Probably 35 degrees, maybe. As by the way, this is the end of the day when it's like starting to get dark. Maybe like, I don't know what time it was, but as I was doing the wheel and trying to push the wagon, it was starting to get dark. So yeah, gone up, wagon's stuck, basically turned off, no water. I have the radio, so I'm like, right, okay, I failed to be able to start the wagon again by myself. I can't self-help. Right, so what am I going to do? Get on the radio and say, yeah, can someone come and get me? So this radio is linked to small little police capability of the island, which is, they've got a tiny little station. So I'm trying to radio through. Yep, this is whatever my call sign was at the time. I can't even remember. Let's just say this is fucking red 1. I'm stuck basically at the island, or I was trying to get through. I was saying, yep, police station, radio, or red 1 to police station, message over. And I was just getting nothing, or radio check, and nothing was coming through. Clearly, either nobody was there, or it was too far for the radio to reach, because I was at the absolute other end. Next plan of action, obviously I can't do anything about it. What am I going to do? Not going to bloody sit there and moan about it. So started walking through the jungle. So now it's getting dark, right? Really dark. Getting pitch black. So it's actually quite hard to see my way through the jungle. So I'm starting to jog now, and again, the worst possible footwear without incriminating myself that I could have on. So I'm now running through the jungle after doing that for 40 minutes with no water, no fuel, dripping of sweat, absolutely hanging out. I've got no t-shirt on, I'm covered in sand. You can just trying to paint this picture here. I finally get to the edge of where the thick plantation, the jungle starts. That's where I have to lock the gate. So I lock the gate anyway, because I took the key. I lock the gate anyway, because nobody's in there, apart from my stranded wagon. It's far enough away from the water that it's not going to get taken by the water, by the way. It's not at the ridge yet where I know that the water comes up to. It'll be close, but it's fine. Now I got to the end of the jungle and I locked the thing, right? I'm looking down this road. This is the part that I haven't told you. I'm looking down this road. And I'm trying on the radio, nothing. As I'm walking back, I shit you not, I was literally so thirsty that this is actually, again, true, non-disclaimer, like, really.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was.
I was so thirsty, as I was walking back, or running through the jungle, I stole, actually, a coconut from a coconut crab. Coconut crabs are about fucking this big, scary looking motherfuckers. It can run pretty rapid. And I saw it at the side and it was munching for a coconut. Now me, picking up a coconut and trying to rip that shit off with my bare hands is going to gas me out even more probably. So this guy had already done a lot of the work. So I kind of just scared him off with the coconut, grabbed the coconut, and he had done half the work. So then I ripped the rest of the flesh part off. If you haven't seen like a fresh coconut, you'd know that they've got like a really thick outer layer, fresh coconut. And if you know the crab's going for it, you actually know that it's going to be a really good one because they can basically smell or whatever. However they test it, they only go for really good coconuts, obviously. Cracked that open, bashed it open with a rock, and then drank the small amount of coconut water that was in there. And that was probably the nicest coconut water I've ever had in my life because I was hanging out from being in that heat and exhaustion. So fast forward back to the gate, looking down this road, and I'm thinking in my head that it's so far, and I'm gassed out. It's so far away to get back to civilization or to get to any sort of water source. It's going to take me hours on end, and I was fucked. So now, what I didn't mention was there is actually one building that is inhabited, or whatever you want to say. It had people in it, which is a building right where that jungle starts, right where that gate is. Big old building, and they say that it's for stargazing, right? Again, this is one of the things that I shouldn't really be getting into, but I'm not going to get into it too much. I don't ever see anybody go down there stargazing. And it has a huge perimeter fence in relation to the island. It has a huge perimeter fence for a stargazing building. I don't know. And the wagon that was outside was apparently